All right, third time lucky on a Saturday night, gone live again. Let's see if this live stream is going to be any better. So let's get a few people coming online and I'll get some feedback from you to see if this live stream is actually running all right, because yes, the previous two attempts were choppy, some issue there. So Damien, thank you for the coming online. Linda, thank you. And can anyone, as you come online, just give me some feedback. Is this live stream smooth or is it still choppy? So, and Jai, thank you. A lot better, Damien says. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to start the Instagram live stream as well. So let's, at least I'd like to start the Instagram live stream if I could get the phone to work. Don't you love it? The fingerprint readers decided not to work on the phone. Wow, that's impressive. Just a moment. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. I've got greasy fingers or something. Wow. Oh no, there we go. It's working. Okay, let's go live on Instagram as well. See if we can get that up and happening. Okay, and I'm live and I'm back on Instagram as well. So thank you for anyone that's going to watch this on Instagram. And thank you for those watching on Facebook. If at any time this starts to get choppy on Facebook, please let me know. And let's get on with the story. Vegans supporting animal abuse is tonight's topic. Third time around. I feel like I've already been talking about this. I think I was talking about this. I can tell by the number of people coming online that it is working better, because the numbers are staying up at the moment. And hi, Shamila, how are you? Thank you, Jason, Christy, Judy, Shamila, Ruth, Racek, Duncan, Jai, Linda, Damien. Yay, Linda says. Thank you, everyone, for coming online. Right, let's get into this. Animal. Okay, take two. Where's two? Let's get into this. Vegans supporting animal abuse. We're all on the same team here, and we're all wanting to see the world go vegan. And we all want to find cruelty-free ways to achieve this. So my question to you tonight is, why would some vegans advocate in favor of animal abuse? And why would they strongly condemn someone that is trying to do the least harm possible? And not just condemn someone that's trying to do the least harm possible, but also condemn a business that's trying to do the least harm possible. And hello, Christy, and Ruth says, Heidi ho from the Wild West. How far west is that? How far west do you have to go for it to be wild? And and I see, okay, I see a few people have come on now on Instagram and watching on Instagram as well. Okay, so what had happened a couple of days ago was that there was a post advertising, a post by a Brisbane business that sells vegan cat food, advertising they were doing a special deal on their vegan cat food. This was met with a disappointing amount of abuse, and not threats, but a disappointing amount of abuse towards the business, with people saying, we can't believe that you would do this, and we're not going to support you anymore, and we're not going to go into your business anymore. We can't believe you would sell a product like this. Bear in mind, this is a fully vegan business selling a cruelty-free product, right? And vegans are getting stuck into this business. I got on there, made some comments, and of course the abuse started coming my way. Jai says, I got called a speciesist for saying I don't buy products with palm oil. Amazing. And, oh, Perth. Ruth is in Perth. That's how far west you have to go for it to be wild. Thank you for that, Ruth. Okay, so I got in there and I started trying to just generate a bit of awareness, basically, which is something in 38 years of being vegan that I've tried to do over the years with many meat eaters. And my attempts to generate awareness by sharing posts with scientific basis, by also, by giving information that anyone that's wanting to cut down on cruelty could look at this information and could, follow it through and find out more about a cruelty-free way of feeding their companion animal. They could do something about it. And instead, I was some of the things I was told I was delusional, that I was perpetuating animal abuse by purchasing a cruelty-free product and feeding it to my animal, that I was perpetuating animal abuse. I couldn't even actually respond to that. The illogic of a statement like that floored me. And so tonight I want to talk about it a little bit, because it really, it was like, you know, you get that whole, like, you're in an alternate universe and black becomes white. It was like that. It was like, hang on a second. I'm perpetuating animal abuse, but you're the one supporting animal abuse by buying a meat-based product to feed your animal. You know, it's just like, this does not compute. So I was told that feeding a carnivorous animal a plant-based diet is animal abuse. Now that was one of the things I was told. I was told that veganism is about mindfulness and health, which is correct, and promoting a cruelty-free product is contradictory to that. Okay. Sorry, this does not compute again. Susan says, many vegans are speciest and favour cats and dogs. After our cat goes, I want no more pets. Ruth says, heard heaps of vegans saying no to Hungry Jacks. Need promoted everywhere. Okay, so we are looking for cruelty-free ways of doing things. And ideally, if we have a companion animal, we want to not support the meat-based pet food industry. Why would a vegan who's looking for cruelty-free ways, reducing harm, want to support the meat-based pet food industry? You've got your companion animal and you're feeding it meat-based products. And one of the statistics I read was that will involve, in just 1 year, the slaughter of 1,050 on average animals that were slaughtered to feed your one companion animal. Now, so I asked the question, who's supporting animal cruelty here? I'm feeding my animal a cruelty-free vegan product, which is nutritionally balanced, which is approved by the AAFCO in America. I can't remember what it stands for. And I'm getting told, no, you can't do that. You know, and it's like, okay. So I produced the evidence and I posted some of it, and I just kept getting shot down. And some of the things said were pretty nasty. So Carl says, pigs eat more fish than sharks. How crazy is that? That is crazy. Pigs eat more fish than sharks. Wow. Yeah, okay. Why were supposedly compassionate people, we're all on the same team here, we all want to see the world go vegan, we all want to reduce cruelty, why were they becoming so defensive? So I started thinking about this, and I decided not to keep responding, because it was like fanning the flames. A few different times I tried responding on this particular page, and it was just basically fanning the flames, and it was really, really disappointing to see people saying they're not going to support a fully vegan business because this fully vegan business is selling a cruelty-free product, and that they're also having a go at me, telling me that I'm perpetuating animal abuse by feeding my animal a cruelty-free product. And when in fact, the person not feeding a cruelty-free product is actually, sadly, supporting the killing of over 1,000 animals a year, so that they can have their carnivorous companion animal being fed. So, you know, I've gone a bit fuzzy there, have I? I've gone a little bit, where's my, I want to be a bit clearer than that. It's looking a little bit fuzzy. Oh, well. I had an Omni saying, Ruth says, I had an Omni saying that he wanted to try the vegan burger after I posted on my Facebook page. That's great. Am I looking a little bit blurry on this camera? Because I'm just trying to get the, excellent. Autofocus, crazy stuff. Okay, so imagine you're a meat eater and someone is telling you about veganism, right? And you say, oh yeah, but you need protein. You say to the vegan, I need protein from meat, I need calcium from milk, you know, all the things that, all the excuses that we come up with. And you as a meat eater, you believe this until one day you actually discover otherwise. This is what I was noticing happening with the responses that I was reading on this page. It was a very, very similar thing. It was like vegans saying, hang on a second, no, you can't do this. It's like, but hang on. here's the links. How about you go and read them? How about you actually go and look at the scientific evidence, and then have a look, go to the vegan cat and dog forums and have a look at the cases of, and there's countless cases of people that have had vegan cats for, I mean, I've had vegan dogs that have lived for, the eldest one lived to 18, and you know, it's so much healthier to be feeding dogs on a plant-based diet. There are countless examples of people with vegan cats have had them for years. They take them to the vets. They don't tell the vet they're vegan. They get the blood work done. The vet goes, wow, the cat's, you know, fantastic condition. I watched a video just recently, similar thing. The guy, he was going to the vet was saying how good the blood work was, and then he said, I made the mistake of telling the vet that the cat's vegan. He said, and then they looked for reasons why there was a problem with it, and he was quite upset about the change in attitude from the vet. Susan says, many people keep cats enslaved in their house to keep them safe and protect wildlife. It's enslavement. Humans need to stop interfering unless it's positive for all animals. Enslaving animals has made them dependent on humans. Very true, Susan. Damien says, this sounds like something that happens on your page, and I believe it would too. I'd believe that. Carl says, small fish caught changed to food pellets globally is fed to factory farmed animals. Cows now eat fish. Animals meant to eat plants are eating fish. Cows eat as much fish as humans. Incredible, isn't it? And Linda says commercial pet food is full of non-meat products anyway. That's not a carnivorous diet. Well, this is it. That's another point, which I'll get to as well. It's the irony. The irony is just amazing. When you actually look, and again, I've got the links. When you look at let's just have a look, see if I can actually bring it up here. Hang on a second, seeing as we're talking about that. The comparison between, let's just have a look. The comparison between a meat-based formula and a vegan formula, and they looked at the animal-based sources of nutrients, the plant-based sources, and the ones that were synthetically produced in the lab. And it was very interesting to see the plant-based sources in the meat-based formula. That was interesting, and also interesting to see that meat-based pet food has vegan taurine in it, and it has to have vegan taurine in it. Meat-based cat food has to have vegan taurine in it, synthetic taurine, which just happens to be vegan. Because the natural taurine is actually, during the processing, is actually it's the heating and the washing cycles of the processing removes the majority of the taurine that is originally occurring in meat-based pet food. So they replace it with a synthetic taurine. So out of the 11 essential amino acids. And Jason, thank you for watching so far. Jason says he has to go. So out of the 11 essential amino acids that cats require, now bear in mind humans require 10. Out of the 11 that cats require, 10 of them are plant-based or can be plant-based. One of them normally is the one that comes from, has to come from meat, which is taurine. Arginine can be plant-based, but taurine is the one that's they normally say has to come from meat, which ironically in meat-based pet foods is synthetic and is vegan, and it's the same as in vegan pet foods. So again, you know, that's a situation where it's like, okay, so there's no advantage at all to having the meat-based pet food when the taurine that you claim that cats need is synthetic and vegan in the meat-based pet food. So why would we be supporting the killing of over 1,000 animals a year just to keep your one companion animal going? So what I found really disappointing is strongly condemning and abusing someone who was trying to do the least harm possible, and a business that is trying to do the least harm possible as well. So I would have expected, and I've come across this before, this is not new to me, sadly, this thing when it comes to the defensiveness of vegans in relation to saying, no, cats are carnivorous and they have to be fed, you know, meat. And I'm going, well, it's actually the nutrients, not the ingredients that are important. I just expect that a vegan would be more open to reducing animal suffering and would look for ways to do it. And what I found this time around was this sad occurrence that debating with vegans, I find, is actually harder and more disappointing than arguing with meat eaters. And in 38 years of being vegan, I've argued with a lot of meat eaters. And thank you for everyone that's watching also on Instagram too, because I see a lot of names coming up there, so I really appreciate that. This is only the second simultaneous live stream I've done with Instagram and Facebook. So, and Jason says, thanks for the info, and Linda says, important information. Yes. So, you know, in the years of debating and talking with meat eaters, I've given up counting the number of times that I've been asked where I get my protein or calcium from, to the point where when somebody asks that, I actually most of the time just walk away, because I cannot stand that question. It's just, you know. So in debating with meat eaters, I've given up counting the number of times I've been asked where I get protein or calcium from. I've been told over the years, in 38 years, that I'm crazy, that people cannot possibly live as vegans. I've been told you can't be healthy as a vegan. And I've been told this by health professionals. I've been told this by doctors. I had a dentist I went to, the first time I went to this dentist, and we got on to talking about veganism. And he started saying, well, no, I tried it, but no, you can't be healthy. But I never went back. It's just like, mate, you're a dentist. Grow a brain and do some research. Seriously, you know. So you know, his credibility for me was just straight out the door. You know, and other professionals over the years, the same thing. So, and for decades, sadly, my own family would give me a hard time about being vegan, up until the point that mum and dad went vegetarian. So, don't you love the irony of that? It's not lost on me and a few other people, that one. And they haven't quite gone vegan, fully vegan yet, but anyway. So me personally, my intention is to look for ways to not support cruelty. In the past, I had 2 vegan dogs. I took over. I started a relationship with a woman who had these dogs. One was about 6 months old, one was about 4 years old, fox terriers, when we started a relationship. So I looked for cruelty-free ways to feed them. Now I'm talking, this is in the this was 1990, so it's going back quite a long time ago, right? So I had no idea. I don't know if there was any such thing as vegan dog food around then. There probably wasn't then, and it's not something I would have known to look for. I don't think the internet was around then. So I just fed them what I was eating. My oldest dog lived to 18 years, so full of beans, just, you know, amazing. And since then, we've discovered, you know, through the internet, that one of the oldest surviving, not currently surviving, one of the oldest dogs in the world, documented by the Guinness Book of Records, 26 or 27 years old, was on a plant-based diet, was considered to be a vegan dog. Plenty of people with vegan dogs nowadays. That's not unusual. And Nancy says, hi, Harry. Hi, Nancy. And Ruth says, it's about promoting vegan lifestyle and encouraging the lifestyle. Imperative to have vegan food in meat places and promote so that omnis become educated. And it also says to big businesses to change their ways. Yes. And Laura says, vegan dog food recipe. You could Google that, Laura. There'd be plenty that come up there. For me, with my dogs, they were just eating what I was eating. So they were eating things like pasta, rice, veggies, not into fruit. They weren't into fruit. But basically, yeah, they were eating, I don't think they were much into bread, like with sandwiches and stuff like that. They really weren't much into that. So it was more like a rice and veggies sort of thing. So yeah, that was with them. But nowadays you can buy vegan dog food quite easily in well, just lots of parts of the world. So that was, you know, that was back then. So I looked for ways to feed the dogs a cruelty-free diet, and they were very healthy and full of energy. So now when I got Uma, my beautiful cat, and I became the carer for her, and she came into my life, I was already aware at that stage. I'd already done research on vegan cat food. I was already aware of it. I did more research after that, but I was already aware of it because I'd looked after a friend's cat for a month and had fed this cat the vegan pet which is the vegan cat food you can get in Australia. I'd fed her cat for a month on it, and her cat loved it. Just I had a video on it, and yeah, her cat loved it, just devoured it. So that was the dry kibble. I tried her cat on the wet canned food, wouldn't touch it. I've also tried Uma on the wet canned food, wouldn't touch it. So that's 2 cats that would not touch it. Ruth says my dog is inhaling mulberries. And Linda's put a link up there to VDog. Yes, VDog is, thank you, Linda, for that, as a response to Laura's question about vegan dog food recipe. So with Uma coming into my life, I already had some vegan pet dry kibble still with me from 6 months earlier when I'd been feeding my friend's cat for a month. So I just, from the first day she was here, put it straight on it, and she loved it. Not a problem at all. It's just, yeah, they love it. What can I say? So, so I also have done since then more research and discovered more things. I discovered more about, one of the things I discovered was that it's nutrients, not ingredients, that are important. And there's actually, there's been research done on this by Dr. Andrew Knight, who is a veterinarian, a UK-based veterinarian and scientist. You can see his actual studies that he's released about this. What's this one called? It's so long, I've got to scroll up to find it. He's done, this one is the Vegetarian Feline Diets study, which is huge. It goes on forever. There's basically what he said was cats, and indeed all species, require specific nutrients rather than specific ingredients. There is no reason why diets comprised entirely of plants, minerals, and synthetically based ingredients, i.e. vegan diets, cannot meet the necessary palatability, bioavailability, and nutritional requirement of cats. Now, if any of the people that on that post were, you know, would stop abusing and actually start reading some of the information that I'd sent them, they might actually come across some stuff and they might educate themselves. But seeing as debating with vegans, sadly, is harder than debating with meat eaters, I just walked away from it for my own sanity. Ruth said people should also choose herbivores as companion animals, or look after habitat of native wildlife and enjoy looking at wildlife. Yes, good point. Yes. And what was the name of the cat food, Ruth says? And it's Vegan Pet, which is made here in Australia. And you can get it from several places in Brisbane, or you can just buy it online from veganpet.com.au. So getting back to what's my notes here. Let me just check. So I discovered there's a cruelty-free way to feed cats a nutritionally balanced diet that would be healthier than the awful meat-based products. You want to do some research on meat, pet food industry, and have a look at the amount of animals that they kill per week. Have a look at the ingredients that go into it. It's just frightening. It's just, there's no way that, I can't even contemplate supporting that. You know, I can't go there. Now, some of the other things I discovered with the research I did with cats is that any type of cat if it doesn't get enough moisture in its diet, so if you're feeding it dry food and it doesn't get enough moisture, it can be subject to getting urinary crystals and needs to have that moisture. So one of the ways you can do this is by wetting some of the dry pet food so that it's getting moist food. Yeah, and it's more prevalent in male cats, so you've got to be careful with male cats. And there's other things you can do. You can test 6 monthly or yearly. You can do a test to make sure that the pH level is good on the cat. I, of course, have done that. I, of course, have had blood work done with my cat, and my vet, who is actually vegan, is like, fine, everything good. He checked over the pet food and said, you know, look, it's approved by the AAFCO. That's, you know, I'm really happy with that. You know, again, these are things that if people that were on that post were willing to sort of just step back a little bit from thinking they know it all, and actually maybe, you know, like a meat eater saying, oh, you need protein and you need calcium from milk and you need protein from meat, if they were to step back a little bit and do some research and have an intention of looking for a cruelty-free way, they would actually find it. Our intention is what's essential. So when our intention is to do no harm, we look for ways to achieve it. When our intention is to just, I don't know, abuse someone because it doesn't fit in with the way they think things should be, we're not open to it. Susan says, some vegans say it's the byproduct of the meat industry, so it's okay. Yeah, that's like justifying leather by the same logic. Exactly, Susan. The murder industries are not profitable unless the entire tortured corpse is used. Therefore, the pet food industry is a multi-billion pound one. I have a friend, I've said this before because I've done a live stream about vegan cat food before. I have a friend whose brother owns the biggest pet food company in Australia. And when he's telling me years ago about the number of kangaroos they were killing per week for pet food, I just went, wow, there's no way I can support this. And of course I wasn't, but it's just sickening it is. Thank you, Linda, for putting Andrew Knight's information there. Thank you. Nancy says, I'm going to do some research. Thank you. I need to leave. Wish I had more time later, Harry. Thank you for watching, Nancy. Thank you. Always keep the mind open, the intention there to do no harm as much as possible, because that's what we're trying to do here. So urinary crystals, that's a very important thing. Now, another thing that I've done in the last 6 months is I've discovered a what do you call it, kitty litter that I get from, I order online from a place in Brisbane, from a vegan, from a pet food, not a pet food, from a, what do you call it, an animal, where they have animal products, what do you, a pet shop, something like that. I don't know what the term is. Somebody help me with that. And it's called Pretty Litter, I think it's called, Pretty Litter. And this is a pH detecting kitty litter. It's great stuff. It's not particularly cheap, but they, like it's normally $29 a bag, but they did have, the last time I bought it, half price. So I was getting it for $14 a bag. And this stuff is fantastic because it actually lasts like a month. You don't have to change it out, which is fantastic. You just shake out the poo and you just sort of stir it around, and it changes color when your cat goes to the toilet. So if it's a yellowy color to a light green color, that's actually giving you a pH reading in the range that a cat should be in. As it starts to head towards a darker green or a blue color, then you start to sort of go, okay, there could be a problem here. So again, I have the best interests of my cat at hand. And, you know, I'm monitoring her pH. I've had her blood works done. I'm feeding her a cruelty-free product. And what do I get for that? I get told on a forum that I'm an animal abuser, that I'm, you know, that I'm insane, that I'm, what was it? I'm delusional. I'm perpetrating animal abuse. Well, I'm not feeding my cat. I'm not supporting the slaughtering of over 1,000 animals a year to feed my cat. I am feeding a scientifically proven, nutritionally sound diet to my cat, which would be so much more healthy than what meat-based pet foods would be. So if somebody can't accept that, all I can say is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And my question would be, you know, as a vegan, are you willing to reduce cruelty, or are you continuing to support it? So that's the main things that I wanted to get across tonight, that if our intention is to do no harm, we look for ways to do it. And that was the one point. And the other point I wanted to make is just how personally I found it so frustratingly disappointing to be debating this with people whose intention should be to look for ways of doing no harm, and instead are ironically supporting industries that are doing massive harm because they won't look at the alternatives. They won't open their eyes, and they will perpetuate a myth that says you have to feed them meat. How is that any different to a meat eater coming up to me and saying you have to get protein from meat and you have to get calcium from milk and all the rest? It's no different. Until the meat eater does the research and goes, wow, the study's been done on this. There's anecdotal stories of people that have been vegan 60, 70 years, whatever. They're super healthy, they're super fit, they're super young looking. Oh, wow, you can go on a plant-based diet. There are doctors that are you know, reversing previously considered irreversible conditions by putting their patients on plant-based diets. So when a meat eater discovers this, and then discovers they want to improve their health, they want to stop the climate change as much as possible, they want to help the animals, then they change. And this should be the same thing with a vegan. They should be looking and going, okay, we have a carnivorous animal here. However, we have looked at the research and we have actually discovered that it's the nutrients that are important, and we're making sure that our animal is getting the right nutrients, and we're making sure that we keep an eye on its pH level to make sure that it's slightly acidic, because cats are slightly acidic. Yeah, so, you know, that's doing our best to be cruelty-free in that situation. So, okay, so thank you everyone for watching. I had a feeling there was something else I wanted to end there with. Susan said thanks. She's heading out for a walk and a vegan lunch in Dublin, Ireland. My dad's from Ireland, from not far from there. So thank you for watching, Susan. There was, I'm sure there was something else which I'll remember later on. But yeah, so guys, you know, we're all on, as I said at the beginning, we're all on the same team here. We all want to see the world go vegan. We should all look for cruelty-free ways to achieve this. And it's just really, really disappointing to see otherwise compassionate vegans that have made the choice to, you know, not support cruelty. Very disappointing to see them abusing a business that is providing a cruelty-free product. It's very disappointing to see them not do the research. If I can do it, it's very disappointing seeing them, rather than do the research, just continually perpetuating the myth. And that's what I remember. The point I was going to say was that, and Laura says, thanks for inspiring me. And Kat says, brilliant, thank you guys. Actually, one of the recent, that I was going to finish off with, one of the recent James Aspey interviews he did on radio, which I just watched today or yesterday. And they mentioned vegan dogs and cats, and he very beautifully said, vegan dogs, you know, he mentioned the one of the sixth oldest, you know, dog in the world was vegan according to the Guinness Book of Records. And so he mentioned that, and then he mentioned vegan cats, and he also said, you know, that it can be done, but you just have to be a bit more careful about it and monitor things like I've said here with pH level and that. So but it was really good that he said that. So yeah, okay, so that's the message I'm getting across. Let's keep our intention to do my vegan credo, do no harm, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So no, I'm not perpetuating animal abuse. I do not accept people that say that, and I ask you, I implore you to do the research yourself, and then it's up to you, you know, to take a step in that direction if that's what you wish to do. So thank you very much for, I'm going to get this on camera. Thank you very much for watching Live Vegan and Save Lives. And thank you for those that have watched us on, watched me on live stream as well, on live stream, on Instagram as well. Yeah, okay. It's been a long day. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.